What is up, guys? Jules and Tino back. Another episode of the Sins of Our Fathers podcast. We're on episode 4. My boy Aaron could not make it again. He's got some things going on. He's got a busy schedule. Clients are picking up, which is good. So we got my boy Jules back. Coming back for the second week in a row. We got a couple things we're going to talk about. I feel like we had a really good episode last week. I think I got a lot of good feedback on it. The people that reached out to me that listened to it, they liked the fact it wasn't just two fathers talking. They liked the different angle of it. They actually told me that we should do that more. Have different types of people, and they're not just two single dads or two dads figuring it out type thing. It's good to have different sides of it and different kind of banter of it. And they liked the fact that we were open about you not wanting kids right away, you wanting to wait, and the reasons why. And then they liked the fact how, I kind of opened up and was like, well, I always wanted them since I was young. Yeah. And the fact that you wanted them and you were like, you wanted thousands of them, and then you're like, I don't want none anymore. So it was cool seeing that kind of, having that kind of, the difference of the two. And being able to come to essentially we came to the same common ground where it was about, you not wanting to have kids because you don't want to, put any kind of burden on yourself or the child, and then me wanting it because I wanted to do better. And essentially, both of our reasons are to better the child in general, the situation in general. So it's kind of cool to see that two opposite ways kind of coincide with the exact same reason.
Same idea.
Yeah. So, so what's been up, man? What do you got? What are you thinking?
Man.
You got any questions for me?
Yeah. So you got two boys.
Yep.
And I'm just curious as to one, you had them pretty back to back.
Yeah.
And two, I guess the question's gonna be from your perspective. I was gonna ask what's it like raising two boys, but compared to anything else you wouldn't even know. But I'm just curious as to what's it like for that. For
just having them back to back. So you want to know
what's it like having back to back, and then what's it like just having two boys?
So for me to go off the back to back question, I feel like having them back to back it was tough in the beginning. You just because they're a year and a month apart. For those of you I have two boys. They're a year and a month apart exactly, and we had an infant come into this world, and our oldest was only a year and a month. So, it's essentially almost like having twins. It's the closest thing to having twins. So now you have an infant, and you have a 1-year-old that is still learning, because he can kind of walk now. He's okay at walking. And you have an infant that's so delicate.
Did he even realize?
What do you mean?
Did your oldest realize that there was
another baby?
Yeah.
I definitely believe he realized, but I don't think he it was just more or less he didn't realize how much littler it was to him. He looked at it as oh, it's just like me. It was almost like he would look at his little brother and be like, why isn't he walking?
Yeah.
Why isn't he this? Why isn't that? But they didn't have much. The only time they were really together doing things when he was that little was if I would always have Abel in the bed with me and Damien would come lay next to us. So they were always together when they were with me, or when vice versa when they were with Steph. So but having them that young, it was just tough. And more so for Steph, because at the time we were together and I was the one working all the time. I held the job down, she held it down at home. And it's another reason, we the last podcast we talked about it, how we went through a lot together. We went through a lot of there was a lot of hard times and tribulations that we had to go through together, and she held it down at home, and that was one of the that saved us in the beginning, because if we didn't have that dynamic in the beginning, we would have been screwed. It would have been bad.
Yeah.
And luckily we did. She would be home with the kids, take care of them, feed them, clean the house. I would get home and do what I can, whatever she needed me to do. And she had food for me when I got home, and I just handled the bills, and I handled the going to work and getting the money. And it was just a good yin and yang for a while. But things happen and whatnot, and it changed. But it was definitely difficult in the beginning years. It's something that you have to just, if you're not willing to put everything that you deal with to the side, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, it's so much at one time. Because you got the infant crying, and you don't really know why the infant's crying. The 1-year-old's barely talking. He kind of gives you some hints on what he wants. So it's like you have two beings that you can't communicate to. At any given time, they can both want something and you don't know. You have to kind of figure it out. You're playing a guessing game with them.
Yeah.
They're hungry? Is their diaper wet? Do they want to get rocked? Do they want to go to sleep? Like what? So luckily though, Abel was a quiet baby, so he was kind of like, he was cool. The only time he really complained was when he was hungry. But so we had a good balance of that. But it's definitely tougher to have them back to back. But now that I look back and where I'm at now with them, worth it. I'd rather go through that than have to have them spaced out. Because where I look at it is, I went through the hardest times of raising them, in a sense where they're solely dependent on me and the mother, at the same time. And now they're at the point where they're kind of codependent on each other, and obviously they still need us, but they're able to do things on their own. They're able to clean their place, clean their area when they're done. They're able to grab. I give them food, they eat by themselves. I don't have to kind of be completely on top of them.
Feed them and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now they're at a point where they're both could do that together, and the youngest learns quicker because he watched the oldest go first, and they're so close in age that he, it's like older brother syndrome. You want to be like your older brother so bad, but he's so young. They're so close in age that they could do that, and he could just be right on the same page with him. So so now I appreciate it more, and I love it now. But in the beginning, it was tough.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was no starting over. Like if you wait 3-4 years, nothing wrong with that. But I feel as if you're starting all over again. Like when you get to when they're 4, they're almost potty trained, if not potty trained, and it's easy now. You don't have to change the diapers, you don't have to buy formula. They're eating regular people food, and it makes the taking care of them a lot easier when at that age, when they're around 4 or 5, and then they're going to school. So now you have a break away from them for 8 hours because they're in school learning. So, to start all over again when your one kid's 4 and then going back to square one, it's a lot. It's a lot because you have to retrain yourself to go back to being with an infant again. So I don't think I'd want to do that. That's why I always say I probably don't want kids again, because I don't want to go back to square one. I'm not saying I'd never have kids again, but at this point in my life, I don't want to jump back to square one again. It's a lot. So I would say having them back to back was stressful at the time, but a blessing now. Because I look back and I'm like, I got that out of the way, and now they're at the point where they're codependent, and I can have fun with them and do things that, I could do things with them together. Because again, when you space them out, you can't do certain things. You can only do certain things with a 4-year-old that you can't do with an infant or a 1-year-old. Like there's certain things you just can't do. You can't keep them together with certain things. So there's no there's no sense of the older one feeling like he has to do younger people's stuff because he's a baby, and there's no sense of the older one feeling left out because I'm doing something that he can't do with the older brother. They could do everything together.
Yeah.
And so that's a cool aspect of it. It makes things a little easier that they're older. And as far as the 2 boys, I say I'm lucky. I love it. I think it'd be a lot harder having a daughter, to be honest. I think it's just
2 daughters?
Oh yeah, it would be so much more harder. Just one daughter, one boy and one daughter. I think would be so much harder. It's just they're just different. They're just you have to have a different. And I honestly learned this a lot with my little sister Bree. Like I have a close relationship with you, Moose, Vinny, throughout your whole lives, really, because you guys were all boys. I knew each other. It was easy for me to have those relationships with you. With me and Bree, we just started becoming closer, like this year. It was very and I've always loved her, always, cared for her, do anything for her, no matter what. But I felt like us being able to talk, joke, and all that kind of stuff kind of happened more as her entering into her teen years than when she was younger. I just think it was partially it was me. I had a disconnect because I didn't know how to do that with a little sister. I was, like I said, I've been around all my cousins are boys.
Yeah.
Little brother, older brother. So it's like I never had that kind of interaction before with like a younger sibling who's a female. So I think it took me some time to kind of get, and then to kind of know her a little bit and know what she likes and know and now that me and her have a lot of views that are the same, and when she tells me about stuff that goes on in school, like we laugh and joke and like we talk now a lot more. But it took me a while to do that. And I feel like I would have struggled having a daughter because of that. Because I had struggled having a sister. So I feel like having two daughters, it would have been tough. And I think I was meant to have boys. It's just because it's just my relationship with them is so flowy and easy, and it's awesome. They always want to be around me. I always want to be around them. It's like we have fun every time we're together. We get to laugh and joke with them, and I think I would have had a little bit of a harder time with two girls. Just that's my opinion. I don't know. I know a lot of guys that I have girls and they love it. They rather have a girl than a boy. A couple of my friends that have daughters and they have sons, they said they rather have the son over or the daughter over the son. But then again, like this daddy girl thing, daddy's little girl and all that stuff, I get that. And that'd be kind of cool to have, but I'm happy with my two boys. It's definitely something that I'm proud of, and I feel blessed to have two boys.
Okay.
Because I think it would have been a little more difficult if I had two girls, especially everything my two boys went through. I mean, Steph breaking up and all that stuff. I don't know if I'd want to have girls dealing with that.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I just wouldn't want that for them. But I mean, what do you think? Would you rather have? Do you have an opinion on that? Like, if you were to have kids, do you want a boy, girl? Would you want to have them? Yeah, have them together, spread out. Like, what do you have any kind of opinion on that?
I guess not. I don't know. I never really thought about it too much. I really don't know. Yeah, because my mindset's not in it to like.
You can go down that road.
Yeah, it's not something I want, so it's not really too much like thinking about like, oh, like if I was, like, what would I get, or like how,
So, question. So, do you know how like there's this thing now where you can pick your gender of the baby?
Yeah, like
have you heard of that?
Doctor, yeah.
Yeah. Would you do that?
No.
Nah, I don't think I would either. I wouldn't want to. I feel like it's like testing like fate.
Testing fate.
Like I feel like you shouldn't like play God.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at that point, like, I mean,
it's getting to the point where you can pick like their genetics and stuff.
Yeah.
You can have them have blue eyes, blonde hair. Like, that's great. You're like making
making your own.
Yeah, it's kind of weird,
I mean, I think that's the direction the whole world's going towards. But
what fun is that? Then they don't come out looking like you, or that's like there's no surprise element of it,
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
it's like when you're having a kid, there's always that, like, for me and Steph, when you're having our kids, like there's that surprise element of like, what's the kid gonna look like? Is it gonna look more like you? Is it gonna look more like me?
Yeah.
It's gonna have my hair, my eyes, your hair, your eye. Like, there's that surprise element. Whereas I feel like with this whole new wave of technology and like chemical science stuff they do, like it takes the like fun out of that.
Yeah.
And then like,
I mean, it might be fun for some people.
it could be. I don't know. I always feel like really eerie when they talk about it. It kind of creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like knowing that you could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
It
like,
seems weird. It seems like fake.
yeah. I don't know. It's like, why wouldn't you want your kids to look like you? I mean, unless you're an ugly piece of shit. I mean, at the end of the day, no one feels that way.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Everyone has their own.
I don't know how they would get. I don't know how they do the whole look thing. I thought they could just pick the gender.
No, well, it started as that, and I think I forgot who. I forgot where I read it or heard it from, but
that seems impossible.
They were saying that you could pick their genetics now.
What do you mean by that?
Like if they're gonna be more sports minded, they're gonna be more like stuff like that. Like they're gonna be like towards the athlete side or the brainy side. Like there's I've read some article like that. And they're getting to that point where they can do that now.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But I feel like when you start messing around with stuff, sometimes the kids, like you mess around with those like hormones and chromosomes and all that stuff. That's when kids come out looking like are having issues.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I don't do the whole messing around thing. So just leave it as is.
Yeah.
We're humans are. It's a natural thing for humans to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why like throw science into it and mess around with it?
We do that with everything.
That's our problem. I feel as if like it's to the point where we're just trying to do it with, like you said, everything. Like leave certain things alone. Like animals, we're all animals essentially. We're mammals. Like other animals, just give birth regularly. There's no like any science. They don't know any science to it. They don't go to doctors to do it. Like they literally just give birth in the wild.
Yeah.
So, the fact that we are messing around with this stuff, it just, I don't know, weirds me out a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. It's a weird time.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time to be in. I think that you, you have to be, and me and Harry talk about it a lot, you have to be careful with your kids now, because there's so much out there, and like, they're so young, and like, it's just, they're like sponges, so they soak everything up.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just certain things that, let kids be kids. Like, stop worrying about, what, for instance, they're talking about, like, SpongeBob being gay. He was a cartoon character for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I did not think of any kind of, if he was gay or not gay, or...
You think that?
As I got older, I did. Folks, you gotta remember, for me, like, I was watching this stuff young age coming, so, like, that stuff was never, like, a thought in my head. As I got older and, like, become a teenage boy and that stuff is coming in your head, like, then yeah, you're like, oh yeah, SpongeBob's definitely gay.
Yeah.
But it's not something that, like, it bothered me or, like, I even, like cared about.
Yeah.
I still watched the show. It was just a regular show to me.
Yeah.
He's a sponge.
Yeah. At
the end of the day, like, so to me it was just like leave that stuff alone. It's a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
And that's where I just feel like it's just getting a little weird now. It's like I'm all for everyone to have equal rights and all that stuff, but like just leave certain things alone.
Yeah.
Like don't go into like
the problem is though if they like I get the whole kids realm thing, but you kind of like that's just like I feel like in their point of view, that's like it'd be like back in the day if you just had cartoons and you just had like just white people in the cartoons.
Yeah, but it's not. We're not saying not to keep it. We're not saying to take. I'm not saying to take him out of the cartoon. I'm just saying like, is it a necessity to announce it? Like, if he's gay, he's gay. What does it matter?
Yeah.
I feel like you're essentially bringing attention to it, whether it's negative or positive, both actually, to it for no reason. Like it's like you said. You just looked at me and I said, "You didn't think SpongeBob was gay?" Like. You had thought of it. Everyone had an idea of it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like no one made a big deal about it. It was just he was SpongeBob. He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Him and Patrick were dumb friends. Like
that's true.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
just like yeah, because like when it was like
I feel like when you announce it, it makes it a topic, and everyone, and then you get the negative responses, the positive response, and then it's like a clash.
Yeah.
Instead of just like
just let it be.
Just think about it. Think of the geniusness of the creator of SpongeBob. Like he wrote a gay sponge as the main character of a kid's cartoon. He had friends around him, and he went through his day-to-day stuff.
So okay, quick question before you keep going. So in the cartoon they announce he's gay?
No, I'm saying that now the media gets a hold of it. Well, I don't know. Someone did say in one of the newer episodes he like claims to be gay or something.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was once they got to like.
I feel like if they just say like yeah he's gay and like if the writer's like yeah obviously he's gay like then that's one thing. Like if they're writing it in the
I heard they did, but I don't know for a fact.
Yeah,
so no one quote me on that. But someone did say that the newer episodes, like
I think they're just saying like, yeah, he's gay. I think they're just now just talking about it. I don't think he's in the episode saying like, oh, I'm gay, Patrick.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But like I said, for me, it's more or less like when you talk about stuff like that, it heightens up the negative energy towards it.
Yeah. Whether
you don't mean to or not. Because everyone has an opinion on it after. Once you start throwing it into like the social media world and the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
Like we have opinions on it. Like for prime example. So for me, like that's why I said the creator of SpongeBob was a genius because he created a gay character in the era of the '90s into 2000s where no one really like talked about stuff like that and it wasn't as sensitive as it is now. But he made him a vocal character and he freaking boomed. Like SpongeBob was like my little brother loved SpongeBob. Like everyone loved it. Like I love SpongeBob. Like he was hilarious. You know what I mean? So and no one ever made it about that. It was just he was hilarious as a SpongeBob character. No one cared about it being gay or straight.
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean when they have to like throw it in there. It's
I think
like,
now they're just trying
what's
to
the
get
point?
that. They're just trying to get that like,
It's almost like they don't
They're
announce.
just trying to get that gay clout.
For what though? You know, like
Just to have it. I don't know. Like,
they don't need it. SpongeBob's one of the greatest cartoons of all time.
Yeah, I know, but then just to let him know, like, hey, by the way, you know he's gay, and then now he's on the rainbow, all these flags. And he's like, now he's leading the parade, so it's like, you know, that's even better for their brand, maybe. You know, it's.
I guess I just feel like there's just I feel like human nature is if something's good and you genuinely like it, it doesn't matter what it is.
No, for sure, yeah.
You know, so that's why I feel like when they start like labeling things and announcing things,
but everything gets labeled.
That's when everyone starts to.
But everything gets labeled, though.
Does it?
I mean, in one sense or another, yeah. Like people are just gonna label stuff, whether someone puts a label upon it or other people just start labeling it themselves. Eventually, everything is labeled.
Yeah, but the problem with when you label stuff, it's the same thing with marriage.
What are we talking about?
So, I know a lot of relationships that were so great, they were together 5, 6, 7 years. They get married and it just goes to a shit show. It's like that's the problem. That's my issue. Like
sometimes I feel like that just like
when you label something. And
I don't really think it's all about labeling on that sense. I think they just really weren't meant for each other.
No, I think
I feel like to me, like all right, let's say. You say totally people are great for 5 years and then they get married. It's like maybe they just had 5 years in them.
Maybe, or maybe they have this new label on them and it's like they feel like, oh, I'm married now. I have to meet this fucking standard of being married.
Yeah.
And we have to do things as married couples. And that's like,
yeah.
No, you don't. Do exactly the same shit you were doing before you were married. Mm-hmm. That's what made this whole thing work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I feel like that's why a lot of these marriages, like people go into being like, they feel like once they cross that bridge of being married, there's this whole new, like, thing you have to be or thing you have to live up to of being a married couple. It's like, it shouldn't be no different. It should be, the only thing that changes that, whether he or she took the last name, is the last name. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and everything should be status quo at that point. Because if you're married or not, if you love someone, you love someone. The marriage has nothing to do with love. It's just, a ceremonial thing for religion purposes.
So how are you relating this to the SpongeBob thing for the labeling?
Well, you brought in label. We kind of spun off track.
Yeah.
You said everything's labeled, and I just kind of jumped off track on the thing and didn't even think about that. But swinging back to SpongeBob, I think that when we're not even SpongeBob, the label in general. When you label stuff, it puts this, and this will tie it back into marriage. I'm a fucking genius. This will tie back into marriage. When you put a label on something, and it puts this standard that you have to live up to, and then it kind of ruins it. Like I said, when you put the marriage on, people feel like they have to go. They were living here, and now they feel like they have to live up to something that they don't have to live up to. No one cares about that. It's your guys' relationship. Only you guys know what you guys are happy with or not happy with.
Yeah.
You don't have to make anything better when you get married. It should just be the same exact thing. Same thing with SpongeBob. You don't have to label him gay to make him better.
Yeah.
He was good. He was great without being labeled anything. And at the end of the day, we all knew he was gay. You could just see it. Everyone had the insinuation that he was gay. Mm-hmm. So you just coming out and saying it, what's the point at this point? Everyone loves him already. It's not going to make or break him. So it's just like you putting this label out, it's almost like you're trying to make this new thing when there's no need for it. Like, you know what I mean? It just, you had the eyeballs on him already.
Yeah.
You had every kid watching it. I know adults that watch it, you know? So it's like, there's no need for it at that point. I don't think it's just, for what? Like, I think labels make things more complicated.
Yeah.
But then they have to be.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I feel like like you said, certain things don't work because of labels. Or it just brings negative energy for no reason. It's like, you don't want to be labeled. You want to be, like, if someone labels you, you don't want to be labeled.
I don't, but I come to just realize that, like, no matter what, people are going to label me. And, like, I'm going to label people, like, we're all going to judge each other. And, like, whatever their opinion is on me or what they label me is really none of my business is what they think of me and what they label me as.
True.
You know.
True, but I also feel like I don't.
I think like everything's gonna get labeled. Like people are like.
I don't think so. So I think that there's
unless you put a label in front of it and then let people go from that. I feel like regardless, things are gonna get labeled. Like
I think that everyone gets judged.
Like
you said,
SpongeBob was labeled like the gay cartoon, and now they just put the label. They put the official label on it.
I mean, I never called it a gay cartoon.
I'm not saying that's what people called it, but like that's what people knew it as. Like they knew he was gay. So it was like just because they weren't vocal about it, like just because they weren't like people talking about it, like everyone. I mean, at least in my world, people weren't talking about it, but I'm sure in other people's world, they probably were. Probably parents looking like, this probably gay that my kid's watching, you know. So it's like,
you think so? I think it had the opposite effect. I think because they didn't make a big deal about it in the beginning, parents didn't even think of it like that. Parents just thought it was a stupid cartoon.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, because if they weren't like sitting there watching it with their kid, but I feel like maybe you feel like you're sitting like usually like when you watch a kid with a cartoon, you're watching a kid with your cartoon.
Yeah, no, I was like, huh?
You watch a cartoon with your kid. When you watch a cartoon with your kid, or like like you could be sitting there really not be paying attention, but if you actually kind of like watch it, you like kind of pick up on some things. And I'm sure some parents are like, I think he's probably gay. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I don't have too much of it. Like, I could care less regardless if they label him gay
or not.
Or if they not.
Yeah.
Because, like, it is what it is. Like, they want to tap into that, then go ahead. I don't like the fact that they... I mean, I can say I don't like the fact that they push sexuality on kids, but I feel like, honestly, like, they've been doing that since, like, every cartoon, like, the boy likes the girl, the knight gets the princess. So it's like, it's really not for me to even say.
I agree with you.
Because like that's why I kind of retract that statement. Me saying like, I don't like the fact that they're pushing that, but it's like they've been pushing straight forever. So it's like
it's not that they push it. See, this is where I agree with you.
I understand that push it, but every cartoon is like
it's not that they don't push it. So here's my thing. If they're pushing it or not pushing it, has it affected the amount of gay people that are in the world?
Wait, what?
So if they push that narrative of just straight people,
yeah,
does it affect the amount of gay people in the world?
How do you even gauge that?
I'm saying, like, is it making people not come out to be gay? Is it making people?
I have no idea.
There's still gay people. Is essentially what I'm saying.
Okay.
So for the way you look at it is, that was a thing, but that mind frame, it was old school thinking. It was that's just how all the movies are. They're still like that. You're just starting to see people starting to throw.
I'm talking about in cartoons.
In cartoons?
I'm talking about cartoons.
Well, that's what I mean. It's always been like that. But I feel like with cartoons, though, it wasn't always. There was not always a boy girl thing. It was always. I feel like Tom and Jerry was a cat and a mouse.
I know, but I'm like, alright. Besides, like.
And even SpongeBob, there was no really relationships in there.
I'm
it was
not
more or
saying
less like friendship.
I'm just saying, like, when you look at, like. I mean, you could. Alright, so let's talk about just Disney then. It's just every Disney movie. There's like
the princess gets saved by
the guy, the girl, right? That's what I'm saying. And like, not that makes there more or less gay people, but maybe that makes people, maybe that makes kids be like question themselves even more.
Okay.
To not want to come out or whatever the situation is. I really don't know, but like,
that could
so what I'm saying is like I said like, oh, I don't like that they push sexuality, but it's like, who even cares because we've been pushing this straight just sexuality, which is whatever, But that's just like if you would just have like, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. I think that it was the whole like princess and prince thing. That's just such an old like Renaissance thing where it was like there's a king, there's a prince, there's a princess. That's just how like the demographic was like. That's just an old school way of thinking. And I feel like they're just tales. Like Sleeping Beauty and like Snow White, those are all tales before our time.
Yeah. And
then Disney took them and made them childish.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are not childish tales.
Okay.
So, that's just that's my point. Is there's time and it's not like they're pushing anything. It was more or less like they were just pulling old tales and putting them into a movie.
Yeah.
In a sense.
So I'm saying, I'm not saying that they're pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's just what has been out there. That's
what's been out there. Yeah. So, but now to be fair, it's the generation of the gays and the lesbians stuff like that, if they want that to be pushed now, it's up to them to make their own content of that. You know what I mean? It's like I think that it's going to be in due time where it's going to be to the point where it's just a normal thing. Which I think it's like that now. To me, it is, at least. It's a normal thing. When I see it on TV, it's like I don't even think twice about it. It's like every TV show now, there is at least one or maybe even two relationships that are two men or two women, or bi or whatever. It's not a. I feel like it's almost like a normalized thing now.
Mm-hmm.
I do get that there is pushback on certain things, but in due time, like, but people have to understand is that there's just a process of changing minds. You deal with a lot of people that are so old school minded. You have to kind of chip away at getting them to have that open mind, and I'm sure when back in the Middle Ages, there was a lot of things they had to get used to coming in. There's for instance, back in the Middle Ages, they just slept around. They had a wife and they slept around with every other woman in town. Like, moving forward, a couple decades, centuries, it's different now. So it's like there's a lot of different learning curves we went throughout the years that I feel like media makes it harder now because they blast everywhere, and then the people that are not ready to even accept that stuff or be open-minded stuff, they get upset and they start just having a fit about it. So it's like there's going to be a point where everyone has to get to that learning curve and be like, okay, well, this is what it is. This is what they do.
So what's your issue with the SpongeBob thing then?
My issue is that I feel as if they didn't have to announce it. There was no need to. It was just, I think it was unnecessary in a sense because it's a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Like we have, and
I guess just to maybe make kids that, like, if they felt that way, make sure, like, make them let them know it's okay.
But what kids really feeling that way at like 5, 6, 7 years old?
I mean,
I feel like
I don't know. I'm sure SpongeBob has a wider demographic than 5 and 6 year olds.
Probably, yeah. But what I'm saying is that it's on Nickelodeon and Teen Nick. If it's not on Teen Nick, it's on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
So if you're gonna make it that, then take it off Nickelodeon and put it on Teen Nick, where you have kids that are probably going through stuff like that.
Going through that stuff. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't blast to everyone. Pick a demographic, as you said. Like, pick a demographic where that there's a lot of teen boys or teen women that feel certain ways because when they get their hormones is when they start to change, and they might feel like they like women or they like men, and that's okay to have those feelings. But look at that demographic. Don't involve like the under like the teenagers. Under the 10-year-old.
I feel like I knew I liked chicks when I was like 6 years old.
I absolutely did too. I think that, but it's funny because I've come across a lot of friends of mine that they were gay, and one came out and told me flat out. One I found out later on. But it's a tricky thing, and I felt very bad for this one kid because he had came out to this girl that was a friend of ours and would told her not to say anything to me. And the only reason why I found out is because she came out and finally told me. Because I was asking, I was like, what's up with this kid? Like, he won't talk to me anymore. He's being weird around me. Like, every time I say what's up to him, he's acting weird. And I kind of had a feeling he was. I did. I'm not, and I always thought he was on the fence. I was like, he could be, couldn't be. And I remember she finally spilled it to me, and I went up to him, and I went to his room, and I was like, hey, dude, can I talk to you? So yeah, I was like, what's your deal? He's like, oh, I didn't know if you're my friend anymore. I said, dude, I don't care about that. Like, that's your business.
Yeah.
And then he came out to me and finally told me. And it's very hard. It's a weird situation they go through because there's a lot of it is, I feel as if they feel like they think it's like they're mind tricking them, and that essentially they're afraid to feel that way. But I feel as if when they finally do come out, it's like a relief for them. Because like that's how that kid felt.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was putting a front up just to be my friend. And I told him, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
Do your thing. I'm still gonna be your friend. I'm still gonna be cool with you. I'll still hang out with you and all that stuff. And we were still. I still hit him up here and there on his birthday. I'll text him, say what's up to him, how he's doing. But I think. But he came out in college. You know what I mean? He was an adult when he realized and made a decision, like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I feel as if there's a lot of, it's not everyone and not all of them are doing it, but there's a set few that are, like, pushing this narrative on babies and kids. Like, have you seen the one lady, she has the gay alphabet for her toddler? It is literally, she has a book.
I've heard of that, but
she has a book, and every letter is like a gay something about it. And she's like teaching her kid, like her toddler, she's like, I want my kid to grow up gay. Okay. And for me, it's like, that's forcing it.
I mean, but that's her. That's
her child. But I feel as if it would be. Like it would be,
like you can't get mad.
Real, like I wouldn't be mad, but
you don't ever judge a dad that's like putting a basketball in his baby's hand.
I don't. What I'm saying is that it would be a different story if it was me on the camera, and I turned to this camera right here, and I had a 2-year-old toddler on me, and I had an alphabet, and I was just like go drilling him being straight. I'm like, I want my kid to be. And I'm just like, I'm announcing it to everyone. It's like, you know. You wouldn't like that if a straight person was doing that, because it's almost like, what's wrong if you're someone straight? It's the same double negative. It's like if I said I want my kid to be straight, and she turned around and was like, what's wrong with him if he was gay? Yeah. It's the same thing. So like, in my way of thinking is, I think that when it comes to children, you shouldn't try to influence them when they're that young. Like, let them figure it out. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna have ideas. They're gonna, no matter what you do, you can put a football in their hand. You can do it a lot. If they have an idea, if they want to play baseball and you want to play football, they're gonna play baseball. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna have an idea of what they want to do.
I guess you could say that, but I'm sure there's many cases where they just like.
In many cases, they want to do what the dad wants to do.
Yeah.
But sometimes what the dad wants to do is not what the kid wants to do, and they just do it because they want to make the dad happy. And I don't want my kids to feel like that. I don't want them to feel like they're doing something to appease me. I want them to do stuff that they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna just cheer them on wherever it is. So that's my thing. It's like, let the kids kind of pick what they want to do. Don't force things down their throat. Like, you don't see me ever with my kids pushing a basketball in their hand, pushing anything. No, I let them do what they want.
Yeah.
You know, like, whatever their interest is, I ask them, what do you like? And then I jump off of that with them. I'll put on sports though. I'll let them watch it with me. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Yeah. I don't get mad or like, oh, you gotta watch this. This is what we gotta watch. Like, no. They're gonna, if they catch on to it and they like it, they'll catch on to it and they'll like it. If they don't, they'll like something else. That's not my business of forcing them to make them like something they're not.
Yeah.
You know? But, so that's just, you know, Vinny's prime example. He just started getting into like sports and stuff like that when he turned like 14 or 15. He didn't really play with us like basketball or any of those kind of things when he was younger. He was all about his action figures and his video games and his Legos and all that stuff. He just, since he turned 14, he just started, now 15, he just started getting into sports and wanted to be on the basketball team. Like 7th and 8th grade is when he actually cared about sports. He tried soccer out. Then he wanted to do basketball. So it's like, he finally picked that himself, and now I enjoy doing stuff like that when I can play basketball with him and do stuff like that. But, you know, you can't force it, because I tried getting him a little hoop when he was younger. He didn't care for it. He didn't use it. You know, so they'll figure it out on themselves if they want to do it or not. I just don't like the narrative of like parents forcing anything down their kids' throat. You know, because it doesn't work.
Yeah. And
then the kids feel obligated to do things to appease the parent.
Yeah.
And then later on in life, they look back and they're like, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I just did it because he wanted me to do it, or because she wanted me to do it. And now I'm here, 25 years old, and I'm pissed because I wasted all my time doing something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I don't want my kids to feel like. I don't want them to be 25, 26 years old.
Just some people, they know what's best for their kids, so they're going to do what they believe is best. So if they believe me pushing math in my kid's face and making a mathematician is what's best for them, then they're going to do that.
Yeah, I can see that, and I get it, but there's a fine line of trying to push your kids to be great, but pushing them to be great on something that they either don't want to be great in or can't be great.
Yeah.
You know, you have to learn what your kids are going to be good at and what they're not going to be good at. You got to learn their strengths and weaknesses. I see it now with both my kids now. I look at both of my boys and I can tell you their strengths and weaknesses because I watch them, I see them. Abel, He's a bookworm. He knows how to. He picks up schoolwork quick. Anything to do with like a controller or learning how to get into things, he's quick on it. He can talk. He has a big vocabulary. Those are his strengths. Damien, he's not much of a talker. He's more of the quiet type, but he's an observer. And when it comes to anything like physical, like throwing something or any kind of like sport type thing, like physical activity, he picks it up quicker than Abel does. So those are his strengths, and he's more of a, he'll watch and learn things that he's interested in. Abel can learn everything because he can just pick it up quick. He picks up things quick. Damien, he's the type of person that he has to really like something to zero in on it, and he just becomes like obsessed with it. And that's, so now knowing that with them, I kind of know and have an idea of where they're going to kind of like fall in place. And I just have to cater to their strengths and get them, to do the things that I know they're going to enjoy and what they're going to be good at. And me as a father, I have to support both. If Abel's going to be the one that doesn't want to do sports and wants to be in a chess club, I'm going to every fucking chess tournament and screaming like a dickhead and rooting and cheering him on. If Damien wants to be out there playing baseball and hitting freaking balls all day, I'm going out there and you're going to be freaking with a sign cheering him on. Like, you have to let them do what makes them happy. Because then you don't want your kids to be miserable or have any resentment towards you as a parent because you didn't do stuff that they felt they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because kids remember that. I don't know about you, but I remember stuff that like there's certain things I didn't want to do or I didn't care for, and I remember those things. I'm like, I didn't want to do that, but I was forced to do it because so and so made me. And it's like you kids remember the stuff that bothered them and like trauma. They don't really remember the other stuff. They'll remember the good key moments, but like when it comes to like really remembering trauma and things that like really bother them is what they remember. They hold on to the most. That's what I hold on to. I don't know about how your mind works, but to me it's like
you can't say all kids hold on to that kind of stuff, though. That's just from your point of view.
I can't say all kids, but like from
your point of view.
From my point of view and from my experiences, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel as if. I mean, look at it. Everyone has the trauma.
Yeah, but you can't say that it's like the main things they remember. Like they don't remember like the little things.
I'm not saying they don't remember the little things. I'm saying that they'll never forget that. Yeah. They'll have other memories. I'm not saying that's like.
I mean, I'm sure some people do forget that stuff.
But I think that when it comes to trauma and things that genuinely upset you, I think you never get over it. I it's just. You could forget about it for a short period of time or extended period of time.
You never get over it, though.
It'll be with you, though. Not over it, but you'll never forget it.
I guess. I mean,
there's things I remember when I was 3 years old.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's only your point of view, though. You can't just like label that for everybody in the world.
So you're saying there's stuff that didn't bother when you were young that you don't remember?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you can't just say like.
I can't generalize everyone, but I'm sure the majority of people would agree with me.
All right. Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't know. I'm just saying, like.
Let me know, guys. Throw some comments down there. Let me know what you think. Because for me, I feel as if a kid's going to remember trauma before they remember anything else. That's my personal experience. Because there's a lot of good things I remember from my childhood, but the things that stick with me and that kind of peek up in my brain here and there is trauma. It's the things that actually genuinely bother me, things that I remember, the things that that I look back and I'm like, shit, like why did they do that? Or like it's just those are because you have never-ending questions, and then when you become an adult, I feel like as I became a father, and the more I've been with my kids and watching them grow up, I look back at some of the things and I'm just like, damn, like how, why, like. What was the point of you guys doing that? What was the point of that? For me, because I wouldn't do that to my kids, before my kids do certain things like that. So it's like those traumas come back full circle when you're dealing with a being that you could possibly do that trauma to, and you don't want to. That's at least for me, And my older brother is the same way. Like he talks about it too. It made a lot. about, these traumas we went through. It's the reason it's the reason why he does certain things a certain way, and it kind of shapes you to the person you're gonna be. And that's why I feel like if I didn't go through certain things, certain peaks and certain valleys, that I don't think I'd be the person I am now. So as much as those things hurt me, I take those things and are grateful for those things happening to me because it made me a better person and a better man and a better father today. I don't think I would be this person if I didn't go through those certain things.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say there's like jump points. I call them jump points. The jump points in everyone's life that when you get to a certain age, you jump back to that point in your life because you remember it, and it makes you go through something that brings that memory back into your head, and it's that time, and it's your time to either do the exact same thing and repeat the cycle, or break the cycle and do something else. And for me as a father, that's all I've been going through, those jump points all the time, and it's to the point where it's like sometimes I feel like when I'm working too much and like I'm not with my kids, that my jump point goes to me not spending time with my dad because he's always at work. And when he came home, he would come home, sit down and eat. He would be with his other family and me, and then he'd go upstairs and go to sleep. I didn't get to spend time with him. So me coming home after a 16-hour shift to my kids waiting for me, like anxiously waiting for me to get home, and wanting to go to bed is not an option for me. It's no, I'm going to stay up with them as long as they want, and then go to bed with them, because I had to work and I had to do what I had to do to support them. So because me working, I missed time with them. I have to make up for that now. Yeah. It's not fair to them because they didn't ask for me to put them here.
Yeah.
So I have to, but I like to let them know Daddy has to go to work because he has to make money. When I come back, I'm all yours. And that's that. That's where I mean by where like that trauma is the reason why I'm like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not saying trauma has to be fucking dramatic and detrimental. Trauma is trauma. Like, you could have trauma that's like, it could be good trauma, it could be bad trauma. It could just be things that you went through that could be so minor, but it's such an impact in your life when you go through certain things. And that's what I feel like, where I pull everything for being a dad, for everything, my past experiences, watching my mom, my dad, my grandpa, and my grandmother, watching them all interact and watching them, raise me or be with me, and taking things that I like from them, what I don't like from them, and trying to put it all together.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't. Who knows? I might be doing it wrong. I'm not gonna know until they're older and they can tell me. But I'm doing what I feel is the best of my ability to make sure I don't repeat any cycle or any pattern from my past. And that's all that I can promise my kids, that they're gonna get. When I'm there, they're gonna get every ounce of me. And when I'm not, I'm not there because I'm working so we can do stuff.
Yeah.
And I can give you things. And I could make sure you don't go without. Because that's the goal as a parent. Like, you have to build that foundation for them so that they don't ever feel like, shit, I don't have this, I don't have that. So-and-so has this, I can't get that because my parents don't have money for that. It's like, that's the bricks you build, for them. And, when you get that time with them, you have to kind of cherish it. You gotta have to be selfless and say, fuck me, and fuck me being tired. My kids are more important than me being tired right now. My kids' time is more important than me needing sleep. Like, because you're not gonna get that time back. And that's where I feel like I don't think my dad will ever understand why there's so much like issues with us, because he doesn't realize that like I look at time so valuable. I put time more valuable than anything in this world. Like, because time's the only thing you can never get back. Like, once time's gone, it's gone. There's no reversing it. So those times I had with my dad, like, I'll never get those times back. And the fact that he didn't take that time and spend every moment with me or try to, like, be present with me, it's like, it sucks, because that's all I wanted. And I didn't get that. So, like, now I move forward with my kids, I'm trying to put it in perspective for them so that they know that, hey, yes, Daddy works a lot, but shit, when he came home, he was with us, and he took and enjoyed us every moment that he was with us. And and that's me trying to change that narrative of that. You know, so when they grow up, they're not, all my dad did was work and go to sleep. No, I want their narrative to be, damn, my dad worked so fucking much, but shit, he came home exhausted, sat with us, played video games with us, watched any movie we wanted, and laughed with us, joked with us, and hung out with us, and let us stay up late with him until we all fell asleep together. Like, that's what the narrative I want them to have, you know? And I feel like I've been doing kind of successfully, I think at least, but, it's hard, it's tough. And I sympathize with every father out there that's going through, what I went through and where I'm going through now. It's not easy, guys. It's not. It's never gonna be easy. But it's not supposed to be. You're raising a child. You're doing this for them to grow up and have a good future and a bright future. And you have to sacrifice your time, your effort, all that stuff has to be sacrificed for the best well-being of them, so they could have that and move forward with it. Because, like I said, time is it's just super valuable, and you can't get it back once you waste it. And that's my whole thing on it, and that's why I'm so like I get pissed off if I have plans with someone and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not making it, or they just like blow me off. That probably will piss me off more than anything you could do, because I don't have a lot of time to begin with, because my work schedule and my kid schedule. If I put a time slot in for somebody and they just fucking completely blow me off, don't even say anything, that will genuinely piss me off way more than anything you could probably do or say. Because like now I just wasted that time with me getting myself ready to do something with someone, and now it's fucking. They didn't even give me the courtesy of saying, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it, so I can make other plans. So now my day is shot, or if that time slot shot for me, I lost all that time.
Yeah.
I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but that's how I feel about it. Do you feel like, does that stuff bother you?
What's that?
Like, with your personal situations? Like, spending time? Do you feel like you got, like, enough time with, like, your loved ones and stuff like that? Or do you feel like you could have used more or less or whatnot?
No, I mean, I don't know, it's like a complicated question for me. I feel like, for me, like, I would like to give probably like my loved ones more of my time, but I feel like at this stage right now, like I have to focus on myself and get things done for me in order for me to give them that time, you know.
Okay. I'm talking about, like, your past. Like, do you feel like you wish you did more with, like, certain people, or, like, you feel like that, you wish you would have had that time?
I mean, I guess yeah, looking back on some things, but a lot of that stuff is out of my control because if I was a kid, like I was a kid, there's really nothing I can do about that stuff. Like yeah, I wish I had more time doing this or that, but you know, as far as stuff that I can control, I mean, it's probably a couple of friends I wish I got to hang out with more. Some I wish I got to hang out with less with. You know, and waste my time with some of them.
How do you view time? Like, is that a value for you, or
Yeah,
do you
for sure.
do you look at it as like, yeah, it's whatever?
No, time is very valuable. You know, I always feel like I'm behind on the clock, so I try to take advantage of the time as much time as I can. You know, so I understand where you like, you know, long nights, no sleep, working late, staying up, getting up early and whatnot. When you do that stuff for your kids, because like I'm doing that stuff for myself. You know, like
Yeah.
I gotta work, I gotta get up early, go to work, whatever. You know, do what I gotta do. So I understand that. Like time is definitely more valuable than anything. You know, and that's why I try to invest as much time in myself as I can. I don't invest nearly as much time as I should,
Mm.
but I try to invest time on myself because I know it's going to pay off more than me spending time doing something stupid.
Yeah, I feel like you're at a time in your life though where you're very aware of your like strengths and weaknesses, and I feel like you're very aware of like what you have to get done in order like to be where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's like,
See, I feel like I'm not.
you feel like you're not.
Nah, I feel like for me, how I kind of look at myself is like I don't necessarily see the strengths and weaknesses. I don't see what I need or don't need to do. I kind of just, for me, how I'm looking at it is like I can either go up or down, and I'm trying to figure out how to go up.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I feel like you're.
I don't know, but I'm saying is I don't know that stuff that you just said.
You feel like you're not aware of what your strengths and weaknesses are?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
I feel like, to give you credit though, if you don't feel like you're aware, you hold together well, and I feel like you are making the right steps to get yourself out of a situation you're usually in.
Yeah.
You take the necessary steps you have to.
See, people tell me that, but a lot of times I sit there and look.
But I feel like you're your worst critic though.
Probably, yeah.
I think you're too hard on yourself sometimes. And I feel like you need to kind of take a step back and be grateful for everything you do have.
Yeah.
And then remember what you didn't have before.
Yeah, no, I'm super grateful, and I'm very much aware of what I didn't have. I always just felt like...
Because you're like miles from what you were like 2 years ago, bro. You know that, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
So I want you to know that that's important.
No, but I feel like I should have been here 5 years ago.
Absolutely,
yeah,
but you're also only 26 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure.
Like, you still have a whole life ahead of you to do everything you gotta do. We're all gonna make those mistakes. I should have been where I'm at. I feel like the same thing 5 years ago. But at the same time, it's like, we were young. We do stupid things when we're young. You know? We think we know everything. So it's like, you know, it's gonna happen where we're gonna get delayed. But as long as you buckle down and stay on the course and keep moving forward, you're gonna be fine. You know? And I think that when you do become self-aware and you kind of have those honest conversations with yourself, and you know where I'm very aware of my strengths. I'm very, I go into everything now knowing what I can and can't do, and knowing my limitations. And I try to, work on what my weaknesses are, and keep enhancing my strengths. And once I feel like for me, when I finally figured out what they were and I'm aware of it, I've been getting things done so much easier, so much better. Things just come flowing naturally to me now, because I'm not scared anymore. I know what I know. So I feel like when you get there, you're gonna feel like a weight off your shoulders a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
And I think that you're on the right track. I don't think you could do anything differently right now that you're not doing. You're doing everything in your power to make things work, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
So I think you just need to kind of stop being so hard on yourself sometimes, and you gotta enjoy the ride, bro, because the ride's the best part.
No,
people don't realize. People think the destination is the best part, but the ride's where it's at.
No, definitely. I mean, I definitely try to enjoy myself as much as I can, but at the same time, like, I don't want to enjoy myself too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You want to stay focused. But when I say enjoy stuff, I don't mean enjoying yourself or doing like little things. I mean like enjoy the ride, the journey, the grit, the fucking shitty parts of it. Like, I look at things now, it's like I laugh at certain things. I'm just like, shit, is that fucking thing I gotta do?
But see, that's when you can laugh at that stuff, is when you look back on it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like when I'm in it, I laugh. Like when certain shit happens to me, I get pissed and I sit myself back and I'm just like, and I go back in my head. I'm like, this is what's supposed to happen. It's fine. I'll figure it out. Yeah. And because at the end of the day, that's life.
Yeah, when you look back on it, that's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
just saying when you're in it, you gotta look at it as it's life. You're gonna go through peaks and valleys.
For sure.
So like when I'm in it and I'm pissed off, I calm myself down and I think to myself. I always say to myself, this was supposed to happen. I need to figure it out and get it and move on. Period. Point blank.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. But we're getting close on the red line here. So I think this was a interesting combo. Kind of jumped around a little bit. For me, I think we definitely have a lot we could dive into more. I definitely want to have you back so we can get into some more stuff. I wish I had a little more time, but you got anything going on this week that you want to talk about real quick? Shout outs, anything?
Not really, no. Shout out to Shane Burgos.
Yeah, Shane, hopefully you get the job done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that this is a nice big fight week, and I'm kind of in between Oliveira and Michael Chandler, but I think I want Michael Chandler to win now. I didn't want him to win at first, but I think I do. I watched some of the embeddeds. Kind of like him.
Yeah, I want him to win, but I don't think he's gonna.
I think he might. I think he might surprise people. I hope he does. But on that note, this has been another episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna put the links in for the Spotify on the YouTube channel. I'll put my link in for my handle. Again, I'm Santino. This is Jules, and we're out.